Good evening. Welcome back to the Sooner Surge. First off, before we even get going, Monty, happy birthday. See it there in the chat. Happy birthday to you. Hope you've had a good day getting to celebrate. Fix that hat, Jeremy. Get it nice and straight for the live. Monty, happy birthday. Really do hope you had a good day today. And ending it with a little bit of a Sooner Surge live. So appreciate all you guys being on here. A lot to talk about today. Greg God, the Kool-Aid's real. Drink it up. I have never seen so many crystal balls in one day. I mean, I don't even know what to think at this point. It almost gives you this. Is it too good to be true? I mean, at this point, just commit now. I mean, everybody's telling you what's going on, but I don't know.
Jay, do you think Michael Fasucci will be saying, "Give me the money"? Do you think he'll be saying that?
Hey! You know what? I do have a question for everybody out there, and and for you too, Jeremy. As a 5-star player, what do you think they? Because you know they get on social media, okay? What do you think when they're looking at all these crystal balls and all these forecasts? What do you think they're thinking? Because they haven't committed yet. So don't you think he's saying, I'm going to commit on 3 days? Let's just wait till then, people.
Yeah, I wish some of the guys would not say kind of where they're leaning. I wish they would be a little more to the vest a little bit. Keep it to the vest on some of this but you're right, Jimmy. You said it. We've said it here. Back August 9th, we even posted some eye emojis, and everyone's like, ooh, what's going on? And now everyone's on board. But, Jay, you do know the Kool-Aid phrase is not a good thing, right?
Yeah, I know.
So I'm wondering when people say drinking the Kool-Aid, if they're implying that he's not going to go to OU. Some of the people on here. I'm just curious.
Here's what it means. It means there's a lot of talk out there. You have all the Texas insiders flipping him to Oklahoma. You have all the OU insiders saying he's going to Oklahoma, right? That's pretty much over the last few days. The OU insiders I've seen, I think Brandon Drum, Parker Thune have both flipped to Fasucci as far as coming to Oklahoma. I've seen probably 4 Texas insiders say he's coming to Oklahoma. I have not seen Josh McCuistion at all. Has he posted anything, Hunter? Haven't seen it. But here's the thing. And Chuck, I kind of agree with you here. I
agree with Chuck.
I do agree with you, okay? Because none of us know where the information, where the thing is going around right now about who's told who what. But there's been plenty of times where people have told people something just to maybe change people's opinions, maybe to there's all kinds of reasonings why. So yeah, it looks great for Oklahoma right now. I've always thought they would land him. I had him a little bit above Texas. I still do, 55%. But
there's 2 ways to look at it. Mark says drinking the Kool-Aid to Mark means that you're under a spell. And then Bobby says it's a good thing because we're believing what they're saying. And yeah, I'm just saying that phrase originally was a bad thing.
Well, and who in this chat right now is over 70% sure the OU is going to land Fasucci? That's the
I'm over. Everyone's going to be over 70% now.
I don't know if everybody will be. I'd like to see it. I'd like to see it in the chat. Who thinks 70% or higher that they're going to land Michael Fasucci? And here's the thing. It's 4 days from now. It's Wednesday, August 21st. Okay? So now what you have is a lot of, especially on the OU side of things, a lot of OU fans are very, very hopeful right now. And it's one of those things, just hold on, baby. Hold on for 4 more days and get the commitment. Up to 60. I've seen some 75. I've seen some 50.
You see what Chester says? Chester says if the OU insiders are wrong for the 100th time, again, will y'all stop paying attention again? First off, Chester, I'm not subscribed to any insider, nor will I ever be. I'm just a gut feeling, passionate fan. But
I get it. But Jeremy, here's what I'm thinking though, and here's what I'm going to say is, that is their job.
I agree.
Listen, if they don't put any future cast out Everybody will be ripping insiders for not saying who they think he's going.
Absolutely, they would, Jay. That's what they get paid to do.
I also, just as you get mad that when our fans get mad when it doesn't go their way. At the same time, it is their job to make, based on the information they know, to make a future cast. Nobody likes the people that do it after the fact and change it. So
I agree. You got to put your neck out there. Yeah,
what?
as insiders, they got to put their neck out there, and they do. The Peyton Bowen one was one that obviously switched last minute. Chad says, "What's up, Sooner Surgery?" And then Surge. But remember, Dr. Jeremy can come back out tonight if I need to.
Please not. Please no. What else is going on? Bobby, are you talking about Travis Davidson?
Travis Davidson.
Travis Davidson.
Maybe. I saw Travis just started a new thing with recruiting and stuff like that.
Yes, correct.
Yes, I would believe you. I believe you. I don't think it's a stretch to say you know it.
The other thing is this: you can talk about, yeah, they're putting their names out there. They're and nobody, and somebody put in here about an 18-year-old kid. There's no way to know exactly what they're going to do. I would agree with that, and I also agree with this. There is now, Jeremy, you've taught high school for years. I don't think there's very good ways to really know if people are pulling your leg either in this whole business.
You can't unless you just have a really good relationship with them, and then it's difficult to even again, what can you say? That's a hard deal to deal on recruiting. And I'm with whoever said it just a second. I think it was Chester. When we started this channel, Jay, and did content, from the get-go, I would say things like, I don't even really care about commitments, is what I used to say. I care about signing day. However, Brent Venables' commitments seem to mean more. So I've kind of embraced that a little, but I'm more about signing day than commitment day.
Yeah, I mean, the commitment does mean more with Brent Venables, but anytime you have a 5-star involved, you still, right now, you're holding on for commitment day, right? But after commitment day, now you're going to sit there and hold on for another however long it is till he signs, because I do think when you're dealing with 5-star players, a lot of times that's kind of what it is. Hold on, baby.
Hey, I mean, Dakota's doing some recruiting right now for us. Appreciate it, Dakota. Yeah, join up, hit the like. Make sure you're subscribed to our channel. Hey, I don't want someone to take what I said the wrong way. I would never want to be in that insider situation, because it's such a difficult thing where you're talking with recruits. What can you say? When can you say it? How much do you step out there? So, yeah, I'm just saying I'm not one. I'll never be one. I'm just
you also have the
whole guy.
Hey, you also have the whole, when you're dealing with, maybe players don't want it out there and then do you have cross the line of, do I put it out there? It's a whole nother business. And I'm so glad I'm not involved in it, because it's hard to figure out. So I do give kudos for those guys that cover recruiting. I think it's very, very,
I do think I'm going to say something here, and some people might get mad.
Yeah.
About a week ago, I said, stop this talk about Michael Hawkins taking over for Jackson Arnold. You're blowing this out of proportion. People rip me on here. And then about 2 days later, every single OU station, media, sport, radio, whatever, they're all saying, guys, chill out. It's like you get on these message boards and people say things and they just take it. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, and Gray God says he's heard anything from Fasusi saying doesn't know, and he's told coaches he is. If y'all remember, this is a totally different situation. But the Caden Green stuff, remember, coach, he pretty much told the coaches he's coming back and then all that. So you do never know with kids. You never know. I mean, so we'll figure out when he signs and when he commits, and that's all we can do and be hopeful.
Yeah, Bobby J's son does a really great job on OU basketball.
Hey, and Bobby, thank you for that. And he does cover recruiting and basketball, and I stay out of it because that's his deal. And And he does a great job of it. I mean, on the phone, you're talking to a lot of people all the time, and you got to figure out, how to balance that and who's telling you what. And it's a tough job. He's started young. He's doing really good. And, yeah, appreciate that.
Hey, Beatenbo, what, 53? Is it 54? Hunter will drop it in here.
It
would
be his best class if he lands for Susie.
Jay, it would be last year and this year together would be unbelievable.
Agreed. I agree with that. And Monty says Jay from Unfair said 2 Texas shows said he's going to. But here's my thing. I think we've heard this before. Is the only thing I'm agreeing with these guys. I do think he's going to end up a Sooner.
And I also want to say Hunter, who's a massive part of what we do here at the Sooner Surge. He does a lot of the behind the scenes stuff that you guys don't see and you do see. And he's on here a lot. He has a bright future as well. He's already at OU, majoring in journalism. He's got a huge future ahead of him. So, yeah, it's great to see young people going in that field.
I agree. 51-52, Hunter says. How many more years? I think he'd be at OU for a while if he wants to keep doing it.
I don't think he has a desire to be an OC. I don't think he has a desire to be a head coach.
I don't either, Jeremy. I don't.
He's in a perfect spot, and I hope he stays here until he retires.
The only thing I will say with Beatenbo would be how much does he like recruiting and how much does he want to keep doing that would be my only thing. I think, how the recruiting world is. It's a gauntlet. But, I mean, look what he's done the last 2 years. Maybe his best 2 years recruiting at Oklahoma.
Yeah, and you're right, Chester. You're right. This class could be great. Tyler, all of these podcasts are regurgitation of BS that I can. I don't know what that statement means, but I will say we try to do things differently here by getting a lot of fan interaction. That's one way we try to make this kind of more genuine. But
yeah, and there's only so much you can talk about until games start, Tyler. I mean, we're doing the best we can here. And right now, I think Fasusi's the talk. I mean, there's some other stuff we can get to for sure. I believe Kel Gundy has a home on Grand Lake, too. I've seen him up there when I used to be up there some.
Hey, real quick, does Bill Beatenbo have a mini-me? I mean, the guy people probably want to see is Phil Lodeholt after, but he's not a mini-me of Bill Beatenbo. Yeah, they do have homes at Grand Lake. I know Beatenbo does, from what I've heard.
Yeah, Larry Sackett, thanks for joining. Ready to see it on the field. You're right. Hey, Jimmy, I did not get to watch it. I saw where he committed, and Josh Heupel's tearing it up at Tennessee. Josh Heupel, I think he's a coach. If he were to make a playoff, I think it would catapult Tennessee into the kind of the playoff era for years to come. I think that's his next step. He's got to do it. I think Josh Heupel's putting together great recruiting classes. He's getting great quarterbacks. Look what he did. He beat Alabama already. So good things from Josh Heupel for sure. And I think Josh Heupel's pretty much saying, here you go, OU, look what you lost. I mean, honestly, I think he's probably loving that aspect.
Steve
What's
Stutzman.
Up, Coconut Greg?
Hey, yeah, Steve Stutzman, thanks for that compliment. Appreciate it. Look forward to the future, man. Coconut Greg, yeah. Coconut Greg, it has been a while. Hey, Jay, I read an article about Zach Alley. I don't recall who put it out. I don't know if it was SI, if it was Sooner Wire. I can't remember, so I don't want to quote it saying who it was. All I can say is based on the people in that article that talked, which were players, Peyton Bowen and some others, and based on what BV said, I am like even more amped up for this defense, Jay. And I'm gonna tell you what they said. They just talked about that it's like having BV in two places, but also that Zach Alley just gets it and he brings something a little different. Not language. It's not like it's a different language, but it's something that may be more relatable or simple. And man, I'm excited about. I don't think the Zach Alley hire has been talked about enough because of his age or something.
Yeah, I also think it's not talked about, Jeremy, because you haven't nobody's heard from him. I think that's the biggest reason why is nobody's heard from him. So with that being said, it's like you don't really get a chance to get in there and understand him a little bit like you would. I mean, you go back to Jeff Levy and Ted Roop. You know, that first year with Brent Venables, they had every Monday press conference. I mean, you kind of got to know the way they thought and stuff. You haven't got that. Hey, real quick, I want to get to this. Thunder OU Sooner says, Texas knows they're out of Michael Fasusi because they don't have the money to pay for him. And let me say this. I do not like it when, for instance, maybe just 2 to 3 weeks ago, and I'm not calling any one specific people out. I'm just saying the talk was OU's not going to be able to pay for Fasusi. It's a money grab thing. And then it comes out that now he's leaning OU. I have not heard anybody say, wow, OU's paying him good money. It's like OU was broke, but now nobody says OU had money to pay it. What is it? I mean,
no one knows, Jay.
OU has money to pay NIL.
So does
so
Texas.
I get tired of every time they lose out on a player, they didn't have enough money to pay him. That's all I want to stop. I want that to stop. I don't think that's true.
Jay,
I think it might be they didn't want to pay that much. You could say that, but I don't say it's they don't have the money.
Texas has the money. Look, and again, we're what?
That was
3
my
days?
point. Texas has money.
3 days, 4 days. Wednesday's the 21st, I believe. So, and another guy is Christian Jones is one that OU fans are waiting on. Christian Jones.
Yeah,
Kimberly read that article.
It's going to be. I think Christian Jones. I hope he ends up at OU. It's Nebraska or OU. I think on that. Kind of similar a little bit. Who was the guy last year out of Nebraska offensive lineman? It was OU or Nebraska. Who was that?
I'm drawing a blank, Jay.
Briggs. Grant Briggs.
Grant Briggs.
I kind of seen this along the same lines. It's a battle. Hopefully they can land him.
You remember the Grant Briggs, the semi truck?
Oh yeah. Hey, I got something I want to bring up tonight. Did you watch the clip I put in the Discord about Manti Te'o?
Yes.
Was that great?
It was really good, Jay.
And you could see, basically, he said that Notre Dame was peeing down their leg before they had to play Alabama in the tunnel. When Alabama, if anybody didn't watch this, he talked about the game they played Alabama in the national championship, and Alabama walked out of the tunnel, and the looks on Notre Dame's faces were like, holy cow. We're in trouble. And Manti Te'o said, I knew right then they were in trouble that game. And that's the type of factor and the swagger that I think OU has to get to. With Georgia and Alabama have it. I do think, now I'm not saying OU would fear them, but I'm saying there are a lot of teams that go into the game thinking, well, we're going to have to play a perfect game to beat this team. Look at them. Look at them. They're Greek gods. They're unbelievable. OU's got to get to that level. They used to be at that level. Back in the 80s, people feared Oklahoma. And I think the reason people haven't feared Oklahoma recently is all based on defense. That's what I think. I think that's where the fear factor comes. Look at Alabama. Look at Georgia. It's a defensive and a physicality thing. When you see guys that big and they can hit and they do hit, it matters. I think that's what OU's got this year in the defense. They're a defense that'll be very physical, very, very aggressive. They look the part. They're physical. They're strong. That's what I want to see.
Jay?
Yes.
I 100% understand what you're saying, and I'm with you. The physicality, it has to happen. You have to have that. That's one reason I think OU in some of those big games, they couldn't out physical anyone. They had to finesse it. Now, listen, don't interrupt. I do think that this year, I do think you can look the part and not be intimidating. You've got to have someone who is kind of in the front who is intimidating.
Yeah.
That has the swagger, and I think it's Danny Stutzman.
I agree with that, but you also have to have swagger comes from winning and winning a lot. You cannot have swagger if you can't win, if you're not winning. So that's what Georgia and Alabama have. They've proven it. And I do think you mentioned it earlier. You were talking about, you said don't interrupt, and I didn't interrupt, but now I forgot my train of thought. I forgot what you were talking about. But
good job, Jay. Steven Tyler. Steven Tyler. I agree about BV too. BV, I think, has an intimidating persona about him. He's, but to me, it's, and Jay, don't you think some of it, and I'm going to say this, when Bookie and some guys, defensive backs would not really even make a play and are out there going like this, that's not intimidating. Like, just play football.
Nothing is intimidating when you get burned and then you make a tackle and you get in somebody's face. You just got beat. It played before. The thing is, if you go back, go back to the year OU played Alabama, Kyler Murray. Do you remember the start of that game, how bad it was?
Awful.
I think there was a little bit of, I don't want to say intimidating, but Alabama was the speed of the game was surprising to Oklahoma. It was. And I think also the physicality could have been surprising, all except CeeDee Lamb, who blindsided somebody, which was amazing. But I do think that's what OU's got to get to.
Hey, couple things. Torrance Marshall and Rocky Kalmus, I think, were both pretty intimidating guys. Coconut Greg, I watched Missouri and K-State when I was at Hideaway Pizza with my family. They had that game going from last year, Jay. Will Howard was torching them early. I'm not sold on Missouri. I'm sorry.
I'm not sold on Missouri.
And the other thing is, I've got to defend Eric here because Mez, I actually started it. I did not say Boomer Sooner song, but I agree. I was talking about OU fans and the lack of passion they have. I blame part of the reason that OU fans are kind of not as loud in some areas is because they have one chant that they kind of get loud for. Boomer, Sooner, and that's it. Like, get something else. You can add to that. It doesn't have to be Boomer, Sooner, or bust. Add something. Do another one. Play another song every now and then.
Hey,
play
Sooner
the Jaws theme. I don't know.
You're right, Sooner fan. Creed Humphrey did. But Creed Humphrey's a great NFL player, too. I see Matt's comment. I don't know if we're addressing that or not. I saw it put up here, but that's for another. Matt, well, nothing came of that, okay? I'll leave it at that. Nothing came of that.
Very crazy, though.
Scott V. Drinkwitz has one winning season. Everyone pumps Missouri. That's true.
He's not very intimidating.
Their schedule's so easy. Gray God. I think their quarterback, I think the word you use is about right. He's decent. Okay?
Got a good arm.
Decent. But I don't think he's outstanding or elite.
And Gray God, here's where I think OU is going to be better off against a guy like Luther Burden or a phenomenal receiver. I think if the defensive line is as advertised, as people are believing, you could roll a safety over for a little double. You could do that more and still be okay. But, I don't think Luther Burden's going to run wild in OU. They got some other guys, too. It's not like they're a one-trick pony on the outside.
Yeah, and I'm not sold on Missouri.
I'm not sold on their defense.
I'm not sold on their defense at all. And any other year OU plays Missouri, people picking OU in that game, okay? I think Missouri's coming off that year, and that's why they're getting so much love. And their schedule's easy this year. That's the other thing. Their schedule's cake compared to other teams.
Hey, real quick.
Yeah.
Someone said you got to travel to Missouri. Coconut Greg did. Hey, Coconut Greg, those tickets right now, $178.
Yeah, they're expensive. And Burden is a top 5 pick. I agree with that. I think he's a good player.
Baker, we've talked about this. First, I want to say thanks for joining us. If this is your first time, I don't know if it is or you've been on here a lot, but maybe. I think it's great because it's it's a lot more like the NFL. So that's better for the players. It's giving them a little insight of what the NFL, a little feel of what the NFL is. There's going to be some adjustment. But to me, the 2-minute warning is kind of just as big of a deal.
Yeah, that's a big deal. Nobody's talked about it because you haven't seen it in action. There'll be a lot more talk about it after week one. Everybody will be talking about it. There'll be something happening that, and people will be talking about it. Yeah, and I'm so glad you don't have to worry about the Big 12 with the referee deal. There's no more excuses with that. So
when are we getting an SEC tiebreaker?
I haven't seen it yet. A lot of people want Boganowski to get out there and lay some wood.
Yeah,
hey,
I want him on special teams starting.
Here's the thing. I was watching something the other day. Do you remember that hit that Clowney put on that dude when they measured the ball and it was like an inch short?
It was Michigan, Jay. South Carolina, Michigan.
Yeah, and that is a penalty this year. It's gotten so, I don't know the word, maybe sissified, that you can't really, I think even if you hit a guy the right way, if it's too hard of a hit, they're going to throw a flag. Am I wrong? If it's technique-wise the right way, if you hit him too hard and his helmet pops off or something, there will be a flag saying you hit him too hard.
It's why we have review, Jay.
Yeah, I don't know on that reviews, though.
No, hey, Baker, here's what I'm going to say to that. It's still going to be out there.
Yeah.
And here's why. Because once the play clock gets down, anytime they're audible, and it's going to have to be hand signals. So you can still sign, unless the offense is getting the play in super quickly and not changing anything, you're still going to have time. That's still going to be out there. It's still going to be out there.
Yeah. Peyton Bowen, Billy Bowman going to get pick 6 against Mizzou. Love to see it. That's for sure. Hunter says after 15 seconds. Yeah, correct. That's right.
Yeah. Kanik has not been talked about very much. I think he's been head forward, eyes forward, focusing on this season. I think we're going to see a really, really good Kanik used in a really, really good way, which means he's going to be getting downhill at the quarterback, not moving a lot laterally, but moving down north and south to make run blitz, pass blitz, things like that. I think he's going to have a good year.
Yeah, and I see a lot of people talking about the SEC. They won't call that. And I do agree with you. And that is one of the one things I'm looking forward to being in the SEC. Because I used to sit on Saturdays. I would watch football all day long. Still do. You'd watch a Big 12 game, specifically Oklahoma. And the defensive backs, if you're within a foot of somebody, it's a flag, whether you're touching them or not. They would not let you be physical at the ball to try to get a ball. You'd watch an SEC game later that day. It's physical city. They don't throw the flag, no pass interference. I am ready to see that defensive back-wise because I think that's led to some higher scores in the Big 12 because they don't let them really play physical out there.
Yeah, Matt, Kanik and Barnes are two guys who can absolutely prove the doubters wrong because there's been plenty of them.
There's 3 guys.
Kanik, Barnes, and Woody Washington?
No. Come on, Jerm. You know this.
Jackson Arnold?
Kanik, Barnes, Farouk.
Yeah.
Farouk. I mean, a lot of people are down on Farouk. You won.
Hey.
So.
You are correct, Easy Street. Schrader was unbelievable, and I think he was a lot more glue to that team than people want to say. I think he was really, really good, and they're going to miss him more than people think.
And Drinkwitz even said that preseason. I saw one of his interviews, and he said they'll have somebody step up. But, yeah, that's a big loss. And you can go to Ole Miss and do the same thing. Is it Judkins or I can't pronounce the name?
Yeah.
He's no longer at Ole Miss. So, give me 2 teams that people are high on that you think aren't going to be that good. They're going to underperform. I think Missouri's one of them. They're going to underperform.
Yeah, I'm going to give you another one, Jay.
Let's keep it SEC-wise.
I don't want to do SEC.
Okay, do another team.
I mean, if I give you 2 in the SEC, I would say the 2 that people are high on that maybe I'm not as high, I'm just going to say it right now. The 2 that I would say would be Missouri and Texas or Missouri and Bama, okay? But I'm not going to say those. I'll say Missouri, but the one I want to say, Notre Dame. I'm not sold on Freeman one bit.
You want me to tell you my team other than Missouri?
I love their quarterback, though. I love their quarterback.
You want me to tell you my team other than Missouri?
Yeah.
I am so tired of seeing this coach all over Twitter running, chasing his, trying to beat his players
I know
in
what
practice.
you're going to say.
Same thing, running down the sideline or down the streets, headed to practice. It's Florida State. I think Norvell and Florida State, they have a bad year. I do. I think they have a bad year. Coming off the undefeated season, I don't think they're going to be very good. And in fact, I said Missouri and Florida State, you know the two teams that are going to overperform, in my opinion? One in the SEC, Texas A&M. The other one, out of the ACC, they're my surprise playoff team.
SMU.
Mark it down.
Larry Sackett. I 100% agree that Notre Dame is an easy schedule. In fact, it's so easy they probably should make the playoff, and they're not. Florida does not beat Florida State this year. No chance.
Florida, I think they're going to lose their coach after this year.
Napier and it.
I don't think so either, Jeremy.
I think USC look, USC has an opening. Jay, who does USC play first?
Penn State's a good one, Bobby. What?
USC has an opportunity right off the bat to make
LSU.
Yes.
Hey,
I think it's fair to say the winner of the USC LSU game is going to be better than we think. That is a.
I don't know. I can't say that because
I'm very high on LSU and Garrett Nussmeier.
Jeremy, I don't think LSU can stop air defensively.
I'm just high on Nussmeier, Jay.
I think USC will put up 35, 40 points on them. Do you not?
They might, Jay. USC will put points up. Hey, the worst thing that ever could have happened for LSU, Ed Orgeron gone. That guy was the exact coach they needed.
Yeah, I wonder what he's doing these days.
He's on a beach somewhere with one of his girlfriends, maybe. I don't know.
Mark says the USC O-line won't get hold up. USC is going to get rolled, a lot of that. Yeah, I mean, they very well could. I don't see them being very physical, so I think I picked them to go 8-4 if I remember right. Yeah, Penn State's always overrated.
Death, taxes, and Penn State will always be overrated. You're right, Monty Ward. Absolutely right. Bobby's interested.
It will be interesting.
That is interesting because that's been the problem with Penn State.
What about Iowa's offense?
Hey, I'm going to try to talk quieter. I know I'm yelling. Big deal with Penn State is their offense is never good. Even when they had you remember Keontae Johnson and Barkley? I mean, it would run heavy. Like when the Big Ten was run heavy and the SEC was run heavy, everyone wanted to crowd those defenses, but really, they weren't that good offensively in the conference on this. Wisconsin is a snooze fest. Iowa, Penn State, Wisconsin, oh my. Wow. Don't talk to me about great defenses.
Jeremy, that was funny because you go, I'm going to talk quieter. And then you talk quieter. And then as you went through that whole thing you were saying, you got louder and louder and louder, and then it came out again. Can't keep it in, can you?
Here's the new game, Jay. For the next 10 minutes until the 45-minute mark.
Okay.
I'm not going to raise my voice. I'm going to see if I can do this.
Wow.
I'm sure the viewers
are going to drop DG in the chat. They're going to drop
They're going to goat me. They're going to goat me into something.
Yeah, the quiet game. Hey, let's do a little lightning round. Lightning round questions to everybody in the chat too. I like this.
Real quick though, before I do think Penn State is I think Will Howard's better than him.
Well, that leads to my first question. Richard Newman, thanks for joining from Facebook, says, how good can OU's defense be? I expect top 3 in the SEC. I think you got Georgia, Alabama, Oklahoma. I think OU could be top 3 in the SEC, which would put them high in the overall rankings. Here's my first question, lightning round. First question, lightning round. Best quarterback in the Big Ten.
let me think on that. But before I answer it, I want to say something with Mark. Lincoln Riley might choose to go pro. DeBoer or get a couple years. I think Moore could be the first one that's let go.
Bobby's trying to get
Trace Ford.
You almost did it. You wanted to.
Trace Ford has been. You talk about quiet. Trace Ford's non-existent. I don't know if he's going to get on the field.
Mark says they could allow 0 points a game. Gray God, I was wondering if anyone would say Raiola. I think he's really good. You're struggling right now, dude. I can tell.
Bobby about got me.
You're struggling, dude.
Bobby about got me.
Answer the question.
I cannot say DG is the best quarterback in the Big Ten right now.
So who would you say? If you tell me Will Howard's better than DG, that's
no. I was just actually getting ready to say that. I can't say Will Howard because him and DG are the same.
So who would you say?
I could get behind the Nebraska quarterback. Who's Wisconsin's starting quarterback?
The guy from starts.
Cam Ward?
No, starts with an M. I think Mertz. I think it's Mertz. Graham Mertz, isn't it?
Where'd Cam Ward go?
Tyler Van Dyke. That's it.
Van Dyke. It's not him. Where'd Cam Ward go, Jay?
What? I thought he was at Miami.
Oh, he's at Miami. Yeah, he's going to be really.
Yeah.
He's going to be really good.
Bobby says Drew Aller or DG. Are you that high on Drew Aller?
He's a look. I think Drew Aller can be a JJ McCarthy type, like a game manager, a guy who can get the job done. But man, who's the best quarterback? I'm just going to answer right now. There's not very many good ones there. That wow you.
Big Ten's very not very great at quarterback.
Shocking, I might have to say it, Jay. This is going to blow everyone's mind. I don't know what I'm doing. DG might be the best quarterback in the Big Ten.
Wow, Jeremy. Hey, we got that on recording, don't we?
DG might be the best quarterback in the Big Ten. That's guys.
You know what I've noticed, and this is kind of over the last probably few weeks when I've talked to you, even off the lives. When you talk quieter, you listen better. Also, when you talk quieter, you're kind of smarter. I've noticed that. You think about it more, and then because you get so emotionally with the yelling, it just stuff comes out. You thought about it, you answered the question. DG's better. There you go. Good job.
Mez, you're right. Will Howard. I mean, if I'm starting a team, I'm taking Will Howard over DG though. And he's at Ohio State with Ryan Day. They're both in really good systems. So one of those two, I would say this. I would take both of those over Drew Aller. And Greg God, to say Mez is ridiculous, it is ridiculous. Will Howard can do everything DG can do. That's a fact.
Hey, real quick on what Bobby said, the Aller stuff. He's absolutely right. If we're talking talent-wise, yes. But I think people are so hesitant, including me, to put Aller on this thing because Penn State's offense. That's it for me. It's just I can't because offensively, usually they're not great. It's hard for me to do. Let's get back to OU for a second.
Yeah, go ahead.
What were you going to say?
Oh, I was just saying that you can't tell me anything DG can do that Will Howard can't. That's all I'm saying. That they can do the same thing. Neither one of them has great arm strength.
Yeah, that's right. Let's get back to OU for a second. Okay.
It's funny though. I will get back to OU, but I got to say this. Greg God, you cannot say Will Howard will get carried by Ohio State's wide receiver and Judkins, and then say DG doesn't have people around him. Stop it. That's not. You can't do that.
There it is. He's back. Back to OU.
His name is not Allen. It's Aller.
Who said Allen?
Someone said it's Allen. It's Aller.
Hey, back to OU. Over under, okay? Angry Germ is my favorite germ. I think a lot of people like Angry Germ. Yeah, I do.
My wife doesn't. My kids don't.
Oh, they don't like it?
They don't like me yelling all the time. Go ahead, Jay.
Twisters. What's Twisters Night? It was a pretty good movie.
Ask the question, Jay.
Over under. how many games OU scores over 40? You going to take over 6 or under?
OU will score 40 over 6 games. I'm going to tell you where they are.
You would think the 4 non-con and then 2
South
at
Carolina.
least. So over.
Yeah, I'm taking the over, Jay.
In the chat, over or under, I think most people take the over, okay? Now let me ask you this. How many games, 20 points or less, they allow? Over or under 6?
I'm going to say under on that.
Under 6?
Under 6 of allowing 20 or less. 20's if they can average, if they can hold teams to 24 or less, OU is going to be really, really good. Hey.
Christopher, thanks for joining. He says the under. Teresa says the over.
That's
under
a Jordan jersey, by the way. It's a Jordan jersey, not a LeBron jersey.
Is that about the right games, though? 6? 6, I think.
Yeah, that's
what
probably
do you think,
a fair ask.
Realistically, right now, if you had to pick average points they allow a game, you think it's going to be over or under 20?
Jay, there's not many. I would like for Hunter, right?
I was going to say maybe Hunter can put in the chat. I thought it was 23 last year they allowed average.
I was saying I would like for Hunter to put in the chat how many teams last year allowed less than 20, because I don't think there's many, if any. I don't think any team allowed less than 20.
I believe OU was at 23 last year, but I may be wrong.
I'm saying I don't know what was Georgia maybe last year. That's what I'm curious. I don't know if anyone held teams under 20 as an average. I could be wrong.
I mean, this day and age, I think if you do, that's. I mean, if you average you allow 13 to 14 points a game, that's an elite defense. Period. I mean, if OU allows, Chuck says he thinks I'm wrong on 23 points a game last year. I think I'm right, but
I thought it was 25, but I could be wrong.
I could definitely be wrong. I've been wrong plenty of times in my life, Chuck, and I'm going off the top of my head, so I could definitely be wrong.
19 allowed 20 or less.
Hunter, what did OU allow last year?
And also, Hunter, the top defense in the nation, what was their average? Maybe 17 then? Oh, thank you. Michigan, proving my point about how bad the Big Ten was last year offensively.
Elite defense. And who won the national championship last year? Oh, by the way, Michigan.
OU was 23 points.
Chuck said. Tell me I'm right. Tell me I'm right. And the truth will set you free, Jeremy.
Hey, Jay, when you yell, it's not good.
Well, it's not good when you yell either, so.
Michigan.
I'm right for once. I'm right for once. It's a miracle.
Georgia was 15.6. And Jay, I'm going to say something here. Yeah, look at that. Top 4 all Big Ten.
Bad offenses too. But Michigan proved it, though, in the playoff, Jeremy. What did Alabama score on Michigan in the playoff?
Jay, exactly. Sign stealing. Mark, offenses weren't bad. Michigan just had all their signs. Yes.
They didn't have their signs in the 2 playoff games. Hey,
that you know of.
Christopher, I agree. If that would have been down to 20 or even 17 points a game, they're in the playoff last year. Maybe playing for a national championship.
Jason, do you know the saying? If it walks like a duck and it talks like a duck, it's a duck.
What are you saying?
Okay?
What are you saying?
Once a cheater, always a cheater, bud.
So you saying they cheated? They cheated in the 2 playoff games. Okay.
Yes. Jason, you said this last year. You were like, well, they proved it. No, they didn't prove anything. They found a different way to cheat.
Steve, thanks for joining. He says Georgia averaged 16.6 points per game and gave up 21 twice. That to me is the number. If you can get around 17 points a game that you allow defensively, if OU allows 17 or less, that's their average. That's what they allow. Then, gosh, it'd be tough for me not to pick them 10-2.
Matt,
right? 9-3.
Yeah, I agree, Jay. Hey, Matt, I said this earlier, though. There's still going to be sign stealing because that headset, once 15 second the play clock gets there, you got to do what you did last year.
Charisse, thanks for joining us. Horns down as always. I have to do. But hey, appreciate you being on here as a Texas fan. Really do appreciate it. And hopefully they don't get another running back hurt for Texas' sake. They've been having rough.
Let me ask you this, Jay.
Injury.
Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
If OU allows under 20 points per game,
I said 17 was my number. Why are you saying 20?
I'm saying if OU allows 20 or less per game, I think they're automatic. They're going to be in the playoff for sure. Would you agree with that?
The only way that doesn't happen is if you play really good defensively and you have a couple of outlier games that just kill you. You allow 30 or 40 and lose, or you have offensive struggles. But yeah, I can agree that 17 to 20 points a game. I think more like 17, to be honest, because you look at it. Last year they allowed 23 points a game. 20 is better than that, but
I think they're in.
I can't believe I actually got something right tonight. That's a first for me, guys. I appreciate you guys because I usually don't get it right like that. I was a lucky guess. It was a lucky
Act
guess.
like you've been there before, Jay.
Yeah, I should have. That was my fault. It's hard though. I haven't been there before, Jeremy. It's a little different.
That is true. I'm the one who's usually right. There's Mez. I was waiting for it tonight. I was waiting for the 12-0, and there it is. 12-0, fellas. 12-0. Speaking of the Kool-Aid. Bobby says Notre Dame only allowed 15. Because I don't like Freeman, Bobby.
Wait, what do you mean?
Bobby, were they in the playoff last year? How many games did they lose last year?
They only allowed 15 points per game last year?
They played Navy and Army and Pittsburgh and Rutgers and Syracuse and like what?
Hey, and Bobby, let me answer my
Purdue.
Hey, Bobby, let me answer my reasoning why I'm not a Freeman. I don't think he's the guy, okay? I think Freeman's a great defensive guy. I do. I think he's probably a great motivator, and the kids love playing for him. I promise you they do.
Just he's a player's coach.
Here's my thing, though. When I say I don't think he's ready, go look at his past. I don't think has he coached enough to be a Notre Dame head coach? That's my only thing. Assistant-wise, he hasn't. That's all.
Jason, Freeman is a phenomenal recruiter, and he's a player's coach.
Has he coached enough, though?
No, he hasn't. But, Jay, here's my deal. If you allow 15 points a game and you don't make the playoff, you're doing something wrong.
No, I mean, they
had Sam Hartman, and they still couldn't win.
Yeah, I agree with that. Sam Hartman.
They should have made the playoff last year, Jay.
Who did they lose to last year? They lost a couple they should have beat. I mean, I remember. I don't have it.
They had some close games against some of the bad schools on their schedule.
Did he really have 11 years of experience coaching what? Somebody dropped
defense. He's a defensive coach, Jay.
But
right?
Was he defensive coordinator ever?
Thought he was, Jay.
How many years? How many years was he defensive coordinator? I don't know.
Wasn't he at Ohio State, Jay?
I'd like to know his kind of resume because maybe I'm flat out wrong because I was right.
Wasn't he at Ohio State, Jay?
I don't know. I was right earlier, so I'm probably wrong on this one.
Yeah, you're probably wrong. You should have. Ohio State, Louisville, and Clemson.
As defensive coordinator?
Oh, that's saying who they lost to, I bet. At Cincy.
Wow. Now, I'm 1,000% wrong. I look like an idiot. I mean,
I knew it was D.C. I thought he was in Ohio State, but it was Cincy, Ohio. That's right.
I take back what I said about Freeman because I did not know he was defensive coordinator at those three. I knew he was defensive coach, like done at defensive backs and stuff. So, hey, I'll take that back. We'll see. I was going to get back to something Chuck said earlier. I want to try to find it. Go ahead.
Will say Brian Kelly and Freeman together would be a really good duo.
Yeah, I can't find Chuck's question. I thought Chuck asked another question, but can't find it. Sorry, Chuck. If you had a question, trying to find it. Monty, I don't want to get on the Notre Dame stuff, but
I'll really start yelling.
Yeah, with the schedule they have, I mean, I'd like for them to win the conference, but If you really want Notre Dame to get in a conference, stop playing them. Teams like USC, don't play them. Teams like Texas A&M, non-conference, don't play them. Make them play the teams that aren't very good, and they'll get in a conference. I promise you, if teams like Florida State, Miami, Florida, whoever they played, Michigan, if they would stop playing Notre Dame will jump to a conference very quickly. Mark my word.
Hey,
But
and
they
Larry,
don't have to because everybody plays them.
hey, Larry, and what's crazy is I watched that game, and I can't stand Notre Dame, and I was loving every minute of that game.
And Mark, if I'm Riley, I don't play him either. You're in the Big Ten. You don't need to play him. Make Notre Dame pay. Do not play Notre Dame. I wouldn't play him.
Jay, if Ryan Day loses to Michigan again and he's gone, let's just say that happens, who's going to go get that job? Is there any chance Urban Meyer comes back?
No, he's done coaching. Come on.
I don't think he is.
He's done coaching.
I don't think he is.
Yeah, and Bobby, you're right on this. They are already punished for it because they can't earn a bye. But I would punish them more by not playing it. These schools that are in the SEC and the Big Ten, there is no reason. Let the Big 12s, or even Big 12 doesn't need to play. Let teams like the Pac-12 that used to be in the Pac-12 playing. Mountain West. If I'm a Power 5 conference, I'm not playing Notre Dame. What does it do for you? You're already in an SEC. Why would you go play Notre Dame? Why is A&M playing Notre Dame? Take that game off A&M's schedule. Go look at their schedule. It's weak. I mean, they got a pretty good schedule for SEC. You know who they don't play? Georgia. You know who else they don't play? Bama. You know who else they don't play? I don't think they play Ole Miss either.
Hey, the Red River rivalry, guys, every year we say this. This is the biggest one yet. It is this year. You're in the SEC. It even means more. This is going to be unbelievable.
Chad, they're the only independent that I know of. And I got
in
to
the
get
Power
Scott,
5 for sure.
Scott, I got to totally disagree with you on this, bud. Appreciate you as always commenting and being in the chat, but I disagree. In a short term, I'm taking Saban all day long too. I don't think you could put Meyer over Saban. I don't even think it's close.
No.
I don't even think it's close.
Even the off-the-field stuff was so bad. Lane Kiffin, Ohio State, that would be intriguing. I think they would go a defensive guy next.
Hey.
Yeah, that Red River rivalry weekend is unbelievable, guys.
If you haven't seen the schedules for that week, it is unbelievable. And that is Oregon and Ohio State, OU, Texas. I think is it Michigan, USC? I'm trying to remember all of them. Hunter, maybe you can drop them. I don't remember all of them. There's a bunch.
Great God. Jed Fish, I agree. I was really high on Jed Fish. I hated how everything went down last year. I think it's tainting him. I think it can have a toll on him, actually.
Penn State, USC. Thanks, Monty, for the kind words. Hey, I hope you
happy birthday, too. Happy birthday,
not
Monty.
Close, Saban the GOAT.
We've
LSU,
almost went an hour
Miss,
tonight, boys.
LSU, Ole Miss. Yeah, this is the most exciting football. And I know we were talking in the Discord. By the way, we haven't even got to a few things, which we need to get to before we close it. We got about 7 more minutes left. Fan stop. We didn't do trivia tonight. We took the night off from trivia after the ticket giveaways. But go check out FanStop, fanstop.com. Use code SURGE to get 10% off your first 3 months. Make sure you check them out. Great shirts. Scott, I know you're a Tennessee fan. They got stuff for Tennessee. Go check it out. Texas fans, they got stuff for maybe for Texas too. They got a lot of schools, so go check them out to make sure. But also, we've mentioned the Discord a few times. I know we don't always explain what the Discord is. It's just another way for y'all to be connected with the community of Surgeaholics. It's a Discord. It's an unlimited membership. We talk every day on there daily. And so the link's in the description if you want to join that. It really helps out just for us to be able to talk to people throughout the day. And one thing that I said in the Discord, if I can remember my train of thought, it was actually talked about, was we were talking about the other day about the 12-team playoff versus the 4-team. I am so glad that if OU loses a game, you don't have to sit there and say, well, season's over. They lost the game. They can't make the playoffs. Because now you can have 2 to 3 losses and make the playoff of the SEC. So I do think it's the most exciting in the fact that you're going to have people in the last week of the season buying for a playoff spot. And in that aspect, I think it's better than the 14. But I was thinking about this the other day, Jeremy, and we've talked about big games for Oklahoma, must wins. We mentioned Missouri because they could be equals, right? Teresa, I believe I'd have to ask, but Notre Dame might be.
Hunter can probably confirm here in a second. If not, email us at ousportsroundup@gmail.com, Teresa. But are you a Notre Dame fan or you have family friends?
Hey, and
are you an Fighting Irish?
Let me finish this real quick. We talked about the big game for Oklahoma. I got to thinking about this. In years past with this 14 playoff, what could you not have happen at the end of the season?
You couldn't lose the conference championship.
Well, and you couldn't lose the game late. It would kill you. So my question is, as we wrap up here with the next 5 minutes, if OU is 9-2 going into that last game and they lose to LSU last game of the year, is that going to count more because it was the last game of the year? I think it will. I think in the voters' eyes, a loss at the end of the season, I think is still going to hurt you because I think there's going to be a logjam with 2 to 3 losses, and you're going to have to be playing your best ball at the end of the season. I still think that part's going to matter. Playing better down the stretch is better. It's better if you lose early. I still think that may be a factor. Do you?
Yes, and like Greg says, injuries, man. Injuries. I mean, the good thing is if it was a 12-team playoff, Florida State would have still been in it last year. They wouldn't have been affected by getting left out, but they still would have struggled without Jordan Travis.
And Michael's right. If you start off 9-1 and use your last 2, it won't look good in the voters' eyes, unfortunately. But that's 2 of your tougher games.
It's the same as NCAA March Madness. They look at your last 10 games. They won't look at your last 10, but they may look at your last 4.
But Hunter said conference championship's massive. I don't think they're as massive this year. They're massive for seeding maybe in the playoffs. If you make the conference championship game in the SEC, you're in the playoff. I mean,
yeah, Jay, would there or could there be a scenario where OU is 9-3 in the conference championship against, let's say, Georgia, and then they get beat by 50, and there's 3 other teams at 9-3 who did not make the SEC championship game that would go over OU because OU got
my brain's. I know. I mean, there's some crazy scenarios for sure.
Think about this: if OU were to show up in the SEC and get throttled, and there's 3 9-3 teams outside of it, do they go ahead of a team that just got throttled?
I don't, Hunter.
I think if you're in the SEC title game, you're in.
Yeah, but Hunter is not wrong with this. This is a great comment.
That is absolutely not true.
Yeah, it is.
Not in the SEC.
What do you mean you have to play an extra game if you go to the conference championship game?
Correct.
To make the national championship game, you get to go through a gauntlet in the playoff, dude.
To sit here and I wish this wasn't 58 minutes because I'm getting ready to get upset.
Well, get upset because you're wrong in this. It's another game you have to play, and you have 4 more after that if you want to win a national championship.
Okay, don't even. Hey, we're better off. Don't go to the SEC title game. Nope, better off. We're better off.
You're missing.
Don't win a championship.
You're missing.
Don't get a home game.
You're missing the point, Jeremy. Nobody's saying you don't want them to make it. There's scenarios where it might be better off not making it though, and getting that rest.
I agree. I just went through a scenario, Jay. I told you a scenario where you could be better off. Don't say though that teams are better off. That's not true. And
you're right. You get a bye if you win it, probably. So that's the good part of it. It's the reward before it. And hey, let me ask you this: what's more important? I think I know the answer. A bye or having to play an extra game? A bye.
And Jay,
the reward is better. The reward is definitely better.
The reward is better, and we also don't know what they're going to do with teams in the conference championships. Like, how much are they going to look at them in a better light than the other teams as far as seeding and other things?
Is a bye better than a home playoff game? Not money-wise, but it is for playoffs.
Absolutely, it's better.
Not revenue-wise, probably, but. So, a lot of good stuff. A lot of good stuff tonight.
Yeah, appreciate everyone that's been on here. Before you exit, please click the like. It's not difficult. It's all we ask. And we ask that you come back tomorrow night for a fantastic Sunday night where we are another day closer to the opening college football game. Thanks for watching tonight. Check out Fanstop at thefanstop.com for our Discord and Sooner Surge Unlimited membership. Check it out in the description of the video. We will see you all tomorrow.